All right, so we're officially recording now. Hello, everybody who is here now and will be watching this in the future. Thank you for looking into this. We appreciate you all. So basically, today we're going to be discussing the benefits event. It started out for me, but is in molding into a lot of other things. Yesterday, we had the first meeting for ECLhectic, aka Eclectic, which is a real beautiful vision of so many people. It started about 2 weeks ago. Granted, many of the seeds of these ideas that have been sprouting within us were there a while before that, but within these last 2 weeks, it's just really taken on so much new power. And this is essentially going to become an extension of that. This event is essentially going to be the proof of concept for the eclectic collective. So I guess first we'll kind of start out with the ethos, if you will, of the event, kind of what we're trying to do. Even though the event started with raising money for me, that is not the sole purpose of it. Really, the purpose of it is very much like the 10 principles. That's going to be part of our backing. We'll have them posted in a variety of places, and also all of the values we discuss in yesterday's meeting with the eclectic. All those values are going to be there. But this is just the proof of concept one, showing what happens when people work together to put on an event. So that kind of touches on that. So some of the things I was going to touch on today are just the variety of things that ultimately we need to have figured out, for us to be successful, to not have, to not be caught with our pants down, and to make sure that we're actually putting on a fully functional, cohesive event where things are smooth and as enjoyable as they can be. So let's see, where do I want to start? So I got some more pictures of the event space. My brother sent them to me. Sadly, my brother, he was the owner of the space, has postponed 2 meetings. He was supposed to have a meeting on Wednesday. He postponed it. He was supposed to have a meeting on Thursday. He postponed it. But now the solid meeting is Monday. So that's when we know exactly what we will have access to at the venue, and the cost of said access. My brother's in a good position because he is helping with the overhaul and the refurbishing of the whole campgrounds. Furthermore, in time, he's working on being on part of the board there. So that's going to put us in a good spot. I used a term last night. This is not a diamond in the rough. It already has beautiful facets on it, but we get to chip it down and make it shine even more. So I'm really excited for that. I'll show a few pictures of aspects of the event space. I couldn't get an overhead plan that looked any good, but later on, I'm going to go out with Brian. We're going to get some drone videos to really give people a good idea of what this land has to offer. In short, it's over 100 acres. It has also an 80-acre lake. That 80-acre lake is open for fishing. It's open for canoeing, which I believe there's 4 canoes on site, which I assume we'll be renting out during the event. We have to make sure responsible people are in there. We don't want 5-year-olds fucking around in that shit. Yeah, 1 second. Let's go to the pictures. Let me share my screen and get those pulled up. So this is one of the main buildings, not the only building, but it's the biggest one. In the I think it's probably ideal that we do it outside, because I think with it being an outside, we can have a larger stage. And this event venue essentially is rated at 500 people. I don't know if we'll have more than that, but I know with all the support that's coming in, it's not incapable of getting larger than that. We also have to see what is allowed by the event, the head of the land. We have to see what he's open to, because he might have certain personal preferences and health limitations as far as what is and isn't allowed. But it feels as if right now it's a really open book with a lot of capacity. So this is going to be the back view. what we're looking at right now. Let me see if I can move to the next one. There we go. This is the side view, so that kind of gives you the side depth. And also, this is in a wooded area, so people, I'll get on that. There's some recreational benefits that'll be there as well. Let's see. This is the topmost room. This is, I don't imagine we'll be doing too much here. These are just random pictures that my brother sent me of the spaces. So I believe the top level is more of like a church area. I believe that's split into 3 sections. Really what we're going to be using is mostly, I think the next few pictures, this is going to be the middle area. And what would be, that's another one at the top, I believe, as you can tell by the apex of the building. So this is more of like what we would be working with in the situation we were strictly inside. This is the middle area, and this is the one that I can believe is rated for 500 people. I haven't seen it everywhere. I'm going to take some 360 pictures next time I go there when I also do the drone footage. So we have a super clean, clear-cut understanding of what type of space we're working with, and we can better assess what type of potential it has. You know, the sizes of sizes of things we'll need, such as, like stages, LED screens, et cetera, if it's outside or inside. But it's kind of nice having this inside option, because let's say it's raining, then it's probably idea to go inside unless we have 1,000 people, because that's just not going to work in a 500 people venue. But we'll take it as it comes. We'll figure it out. Next picture. I keep going the wrong way. Sorry about that. So another thing I want to mention about this place, this is also a Methodist church recreation center. So even though we will have it like open for people to do their thing, we have to make them understand they have to be respectful, because these are sacred grounds, not just to the people who work there, to the people who have had weddings there. And this is a place that we want to keep available, and also that my brother is developing. So we have to definitely make sure that people are respecting it. And if they're not respecting it, we'll respectfully put them in a state of rebalancing. So there's another one. You get to see that beautiful auric and that clean floor. Looks like it may have got some stains. Those must have been from the weddings. I haven't seen the opposite side, so I don't know which place would be where we would put the actual said stage, assuming it goes inside. And there's also the potential that we can do a small thing inside as well as something outside, because I believe there's been a lot of interest in people like doing like some people wanted to do some more acoustic stuff and then have like a bunch of bass stuff outside. So if a bunch of people want to do performance arts inside, and they want a stage just for that, we could potentially tailor to those needs depending on the how much interest is shown. I don't want to set something up for just a few people. I want to make sure that there's enough energy there for it to be prolific if we make it available. So next I'll share a screen, and I want to go to, let's stop this one. And let's go to a different one where I can show just some of the basics of Pilgrim Heights. So this is going to be their website. Feel free to look at it. Just please don't tell people about this place, because I don't want other people trying to do what we're doing before we have a chance to do it better than them. But granted, they kind of have to go through my brother and his resources kind of at this point. So even if they tried, they might not be as successful as they hope. But this is a quick view. If you look at this here, this is that 80 acre lake. I've never been to a festival and seen people fishing during the day. And that would be really cool, because we can tell people, hey, bring in your tackle, bring your fishing gear, maybe even let's cook some fish, like there's supposed to be some big fish in there. I believe they stock the stock the lake. So that's a benefit. I'll go down a little bit and make aware of some of the things that kind of come with the space automatically. So there is some nice amenities there. There's some hiking trails. There's a beach. Option for boating and fishing. Boating in this situation is mostly just going to be canoes. I was just made aware that I guess they have frisbee golf there. So that could be fun. I have to figure out more what that means and what type of holes those are, you know, because it could be something that they're like, oh yeah, we have frisbee golf, but it's just like 3 runs or something, you know. We want a little bit more than that, but we'll figure it out. And obviously, people are going to be able to camp there. There is so much space for camping, it's ridiculous, but we will have to let people know we want them to camp in specific areas for specific reasons. There is that building I showed you earlier. The bottom of that building is all like cabins and stuff for when the kids stay. So I want to make those available to the families first. And then if there's still something left over, we can make it to people who are not specifically family affiliated. I want to give the families a safer, more calm place to do all the things they do, which are by default and naturally like a little bit more tamed than what a lot of people are going to be doing else there. You know, it'll give them a little bit of room from the heavy bass. And it'll just give them a more a space to kind of distance themselves from any of the high energy that will be happening during the festival. So those are some good benefits that kind of come with the land, that will help keep people busy during the day if they're not, you know, doing whatever. And if, you know, they choose to stay another night, we can work something out with that too. So there, I mean, it's looking right now like it's just going to be a 1-day event. I'm thinking maybe let people come the day before, set up camp, have things, you know, the way they want, or just come the morning of, early the morning of. That probably makes more sense. And then, you know, have the event, have camping available, suggest people stay the night if they're in, you know, in a state where they shouldn't be leaving. Obviously not force that, but I think most people are going to want to because there's going to be so much fun and things going on. Let's see here. So ticket costs, I'll need to discuss that with people. We were thinking of a sliding scale, a suggested amount of maybe like 30 and maybe a minimum amount of like 10 to 15 for entry. For dates, it's looking right now like we're looking towards the end of April. My next court date is April 9th. After that, I don't know exactly when it is, but most likely in June, early June or late April. So we'll have to just be mindful of that. Granted, if I set it up well enough, I don't have to be there. And also there's no guarantee that I'm going to serve time and I can't be there. My aspects of my case are really shitty, aspects of my case are really good, so it's still kind of up in the air. So for alcohol, I don't want to have to get an alcohol license, so I think what is idea is that we sell wristbands, you know, for like $10-15 each, and tell people if you are of the age over 21 and you have brought alcohol on your own accord, you need this, and if you don't have one, it's going to assume you're underage and we'll treat you accordingly. Let's see. So that's the mention on alcohol. And another reason I don't want to sell alcohol is because even though, I mean, like they have alcohol at weddings and stuff, but once again, this is like a church place, and I have a feeling that if we sell alcohol, people, I don't know. I mean, people will bring their alcohol and they'll get crazy. I don't know which one will make people more crazy, but I definitely want people to understand that you can have fun, but you need to be within a state of balance. Because as soon as someone is out of a state of balance, you know, the people who are in a state to responsibly do so will make them aware of that. And I'm not going to send people away, but I will basically tell them, hey, if you can't act responsibly, you need to go to your tent and you need to stay there, and we're going to have people that make sure you stay there. And if you don't stay there, then we're going to tell you to leave. We're going to find someone who can responsibly take you where you need to go, and they're going to get you there, and you can come back and get your shit or have your friends get your shit afterwards. That touches that. Yeah, no, I want it to be all ages event because this is a community thing. You know, what we're doing is positive social engineering and positive cultural engineering. We're showing the benefit of performance arts. We're showing the benefit of community. We're showing the benefit of sound, and children should not be taken away from that. You know, like once again, being in alignment with the 10 principles of Burning Man, you know, radical inclusion. We want our little ones to see the beauty of our culture, and we want them to benefit from it as well. The only way they can do that is if they're a part of it. We all know the magic that children bring, you know, and the magic that they hold inherently in themselves. And we want that magic there because we need it in ways more than the children do. They have it naturally, you know, but we have to kind of work for it because we've been so broken in our lives. So I definitely want this to be an all ages event. Granted, at night, most of the kids are going to be asleep and you're going to see things change to more of a nightlife style. But nevertheless, if we need to, we might have to put a cap on certain things just to make sure that everyone on all sides of the fence are being taken care of. So next, talk about some of the resources that we have. Some of the things that are, okay, so I'll talk about what we do have and then talk about some of the things that we don't necessarily know that are kind of up in the air. So I've had Charlo, aka Chris Mullis, offer to help with sound. He has some pretty good speakers and sound. Depending on the nature of the act I get, you know, I'm trying to set 2,000, 3,000 aside for an act. And that can put a really good act up, and the sound system has to be in alignment with the sound that we have, or excuse me, with the act that we have. You know, I'm not going to pay that much for a great act and then have don't get me wrong, he has an amazing sound system. You understand what I'm saying. It's got to be balanced with the act that we have, or the sound system has to be better than alignment with the act that we have. He has a lot of other resources as far as lighting. So, I mean, the lighting will be mine, and I think he's going to offer some of his lighting too. He has some truss work and whatnot. So if it's outside, I think that combined with potential rentals of other like stages and truss work will provide a substantial, like it'll provide a legitimate area for people to enjoy what they're watching. Potential LED screens too. You know, once again, this depends on if some of my friends from Minneapolis and whatnot that have nicer businesses are willing to provide this for what am I saying, pro bono or at a cost. We have to kind of put that in alignment with what the ticket sales are prior and, you know, gauge accordingly. Let's see, lighting. I want to also consider pyrotechnics. Now that could be as simple as me getting 4 rated poofers, the ones that push out like the fire, that are meant specifically for concerts. You know, these aren't going to be ones that are made by like burners, which, don't get me wrong, they're just as good. But to be at a show, even to be under code, they have to be a specific type. I anticipate I'm going to get 4 of those and put them on the side of the stage. And those will have to be separated from anyone interacting with them unless it's the fire performance crew, because I might have the fire performance crew on either side of the stage with proper safeties. And I want them to potentially be around that fire so that they can add energy to that. But it's one of those things where we may or may not have to worry about local codes. Being in Tama, they're a lot more lax, and we can get away with a lot more without having people up our ass about codes and regulations. Don't get me wrong, I want to be up to code and up to regulation and all these things, because the last thing we want is to have a stupid fine slapped on us because we weren't aware of what we should have been aware of. So yeah, I definitely want to do the fire poofers. I want to look into the potential of a small firework thing, you know, after one of the main acts, after the main act. And so I have yet to figure out what that cost would be or what that would add on to it. and to see if that's even a realistic thing. Now for DJ gear, I'm pretty sure Charlo has CDJs, and I think he would be ready and willing to let us access those and use that as the house setup in case he. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get off this screen because there's really no use for it anymore. There we go. I think he would be willing to let us use those. If not, I know there's a lot of other people who would be ready and willing to use a similar resource. And also a lot of DJs are going to bring their own stuff, but we can't expect them all to bring their own stuff because that's it's just not ideal. You know, a lot of DJs have come to expect to have that ready and waiting there for them. So let's see here. DJs, CDJs, Charlo. Oh, another thing I should mention about sound, we might Justin Meeks, he does the sound for Basewoods along with Charlo. He has a fuck ton of sound, and I know he has more than enough to basically, you know, it'll put out a lot. So we'll potentially look into renting that from him. But he's not going to be there. I've already asked him, and he is practicing heavy social distancing right now due to the health of his significant other. So I definitely respect that. But he's usually ready and willing to throw his sound around and let it, you know, be available for a good reason. So let's see. I touched on the hiking, the beach, the fishing, the swimming, the frisbee golf, the hiking trails. Art auction. So that's another important thing. I'm going to be taking, thinking one of those big open spaces where like the church stuff was near the top. That's where all will have art from so many people. And the art is going to have like a small synopsis of the artist, what the piece is about, and then have a silent auction available for people to purchase it. So with my pieces, I'm also going to have a silent auction with a fuck ton of my art. But what's going to be a little bit different about mine is the more expensive pieces. I'm going to make people aware that like, hey, you know, like I'll put out like some really dope ass mandalas. And basically after a certain amount of people bidding, like, let's say, you know, like I have you know, let's say I have a mandala up and I start, you know, that's worth $350, but I start the bidding at $50. What I'll probably do is I'll have a couple of those same mandalas available, and so then like the first 3 people with the highest silent bid, that goes straight to them. But then let's say 7 people underneath them bid, and let's say my cap was if you give at least $150 in the silent bid, at that point it's a contract to buy. So with that way I can get more funds coming in. Even if someone doesn't win the auction, they're essentially still signing up to buy it if they go over a certain amount. And it's going to be a better deal than if they would have bought the product straight from my company too. So they're still getting ahead, you know, in this. It's getting more money for my resources and whatnot, as well as showing the concept behind eclectic and what we're capable of. Also with artists, I already mentioned we're going to attempt to have fire performers. If there is the will, I'm going to talk to different circus performers and see if they're ready and willing to do stuff. Some of the circus performers locally, they're a little bit more reserved about sharing their skills without cost. But a lot of them are really close to me and they just want to have fun and show what they got. Also, we want to have live art there. So I'm looking up and collecting people who would be good with that. So like Zach Brown, for example, he's a well-respected local artist. You know, if there's other people that you know of that you think would be good for that, feel free to send them our way and see if they're in alignment with what's going on. Another thing that we'll have to mention is volunteers. We're going to eventually need to start some type of system where the volunteers before the event, during the event, and after the event can kind of sign up, make us aware of what time they're willing to help with or what resources they're willing to help with or what they're willing to do. You know, if it's afterwards, we're obviously going to need help with cleanup. Granted, if people are really practicing leave no trace, it shouldn't be as big a thing, but people are going to need help with teardown. People are going to need help with a wide variety of things. Let's see here. What else have I not touched on? I think that's basically all that's in my notes. So that was a lot to cover. And, ideally, we could have had everyone here so people could have, interjected and added thoughts in between. But, we understand everyone is everyone's has some different responsibilities right now. And that's really important that, we take care of those things. And, that's why we're recording this, because anybody who hasn't, who wasn't able to make it, that's completely okay. You can come back, you can watch this, you can get an understanding of what's going on. You can reach out to me individually, or really anyone else, let them know what's going on. And eventually that information will work its way towards each other, and we can kind of go from there. So I guess now I would ask, does anybody that's currently on have anything that they want to say, or any questions or concerns or thoughts to add?
Sorry for the background noise, first of all. The treadmill's on, so you might hear that or you might not entirely sure. You got a bunch of great ideas there. As you mentioned at the beginning, I think, confirming the dates is the most important, obviously. As soon as that's confirmed, as soon as the location is confirmed, whether it be inside or outside, preparing for those kind of things. Obviously it's going to take different kinds of things if it's purely inside versus purely outside, or if it's a blend of the two. I do have some connections with, outdoor, restrooms and water stations and things like that. I even have a lot of gear left over from G14 that we can use. Happy to help in any way I can. Obviously volunteers, we should start maybe a Google sign-up sheet where we can spread that around and show what people are available for, whether they want to volunteer before, during, after, or a blend of the three. Just kind of having that structure in place. That was kind of one of the issues that I had, hosting the big event back in the day with Bunga, is really staying organized. But once you're organized, then you really start to hit the ground running, and it's very important. So I think that's obviously key. But yeah, a lot of good points. I'd like to be fishing while I was at an event. That'd be nice. Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of cool ideas. But I can also see if I can find people who are willing to do pro bono type stuff. I have a little bit of gear myself. I know people who have gear. Hopefully we can, negotiate something with them. I'm even willing to do maybe like an expungement clinic, essentially a small legal clinic, pro bono. I'll have access to the internet or something and expunge some records for people. I've done that for a few friends. So anything to help, but and that would kind of blend with the idea of a benefit event for, Bunga. So yeah, a lot of great ideas here. I think we all need to meet quite soon, since the event should be at the end of April or the beginning of June. Not a ton of time, but there is enough time. There's definitely enough time. Advertising is also a thing we want to consider.
Definitely.
How it's done, whether it's handing out flyers at the local events, or spending a little bit of money that goes a long way on Facebook ads and things like that. Yeah, so just those kind of ideas. But thank you for allowing me to be part of it. Obviously, I don't want to step on any toes, but I'm here to help in any way I can, and do anything that anyone needs me to do. So,
much love, brother. Thanks for your thoughts and your understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate that. One thing I would point out, there already are bathrooms on site and showers. So
that's really good. That's huge.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I missed the last meeting, so I obviously a little bit in the dark as far as that goes, but that's amazing. That's huge.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And my brother is aiming towards, within the next year, having them put an actual swimming pool in, so that it's a little safer for the kids and they don't have to be in the same, lake that someone might be fishing in. Granted, it's an 80-acre lake. There's no reason why people have to be cramped together. But just things to consider. And thanks for mentioning advertising. That was something that I never touched on. We do have to consider the digital aspects of that as well as the physical aspects of that. And we do have some really gifted people who can really make the most of that with the knowledge and resources they have. I should have dates confirmed Monday night. Monday is when my brother has that meeting with the owner. So at that point, I will know exactly what's available, exactly what's being requested. So Monday night, I'll basically touch base with people and touch base with some of the people providing some more of the resources, such as Chris, and be like, hey, what is available for you? This is the date range we're looking at. I want to stay away from the 30th because Adam Ellis is having his event. And I really, I don't want to take away from anyone else's event. But at the same time, if it ends up being one of those things where it makes sense to do that because it's on everybody else's thing, that is what that is. And, I'll explain to him according, like, hey, sorry to step on your toes, but we have to stand up regardless, like,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. So I think that's basically it for now, from what I can see.
One more idea, maybe. Sorry to interject.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Maybe on Monday, have your brother figure out what kind of access that we would have to the land.
Mm-hmm.
I think a cool thing to do would be maybe, it showed on their the website there that they have hiking. So maybe, do some kind of hiking trail that's available to, the attendees. That might be a nice advertising point. So it's, an event, but also you can go and roam and do your thing and,
Right.
walk around the lake if you want to. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but it might be something to, consider.
Yeah, I mean, I know that if we get the event, we by default get the things in there. Like the playgrounds for kids, by default we get that, even if they don't say it. By default, we get to the fish. By default, we get to hike because those are natural things that are there, and that they don't mind. I have no doubt in my mind that that'll be ready and willing for us. What I'm curious about though is that disc golf, the frisbee golf, because I know a lot of people love frisbee golf in our community, and if it's a decent course, that people are going to be excited, because now they have things to do during the day. If they just don't like the act, or they don't want to be around, or they're overwhelmed by the energy, they can go off and they can do a thing. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Like I said, it's a beautifully faceted diamond, and we get to chip some more off and put some more on it, and we'll really get to make this ours, which is what I'm really excited about, because there's a lot of event spaces around, but I've never seen one like this, as far as just so ripe for what we do and ready to be made into something beautiful for us. So I'm really excited, really excited.
Absolutely. I am too.
Awesome. Well, I guess if there's nothing else, I wish I had a gavel. This meeting is adjourned.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Well, much love, guys. I'll touch base with everyone on Monday. And if there's another meeting anytime soon, I'll let people know more of ahead of time than I did for this. I'm sorry I did reach out to people last minute. Sorry I didn't think about that ahead of time, but that's okay. This is kind of new process to me. So, I'm learning from it. So much love, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and I look forward to sharing more time and space with all you guys. All right. Peace out.